Hey, I was thinking, and I was thinking about where we are as a country, especially when it comes to race, more specifically, Black people. Our experience is like none other. If you're not Black, you don't understand. But in all of this, all we really want is equity. We want to be treated fairly. We want the systems to be fair. I am, I'm an engineer. Most of you probably know that. But when I was in undergrad, I went through this program that was for people who wanted to get their MBAs. Like I always wanted to have my MBA, and I loved HR. I had did an internship at Eaton in HR, worked in the department helping to recruit people, mentor people, et cetera. And I really thought that that's where I would spend my career, but that's not what happened. I ended up working as an engineer, working in the medical field as a trainer, kind of a consultant. But I worked with this person who was just dear. She was the VP of HR at our company. And I met her at a banquet and we sat next to each other. She asked me about my goals and what I wanted to do. And from that, we created this internal internship. I worked in Cleveland. My company is based in Minneapolis. So I was out in the field. And so typically for people to advance or to do anything else, they had to go to Minneapolis and have a stint there. And I didn't want to do that, but I still wanted to have my hands in HR, even after all those years. And I'm telling you, it's probably been, it was like almost 30, about 25 years that had passed at that point. So we created this program and it was pretty cool just going through the process. Unfortunately, neither of us stayed much longer after that, but it was just a really good experience. And what I do know is that that is where I just found a lot of joy. I love helping people. Like humans are our biggest resources when it comes to organizations. And so I was always concerned as to how you treat people, et cetera. So during this pandemic, I had seen a couple of places that were offering certifications. Now I have certifications from all these different places. I have them for my coaching. I have a few from coaching. I have some from when I was interested in recruitment and retention. But this particular one that they offered recently through the University of South Florida was for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so I decided to jump on it just because I just love learning, first of all, but I love that space too. So the program was free. I was really excited about that because if you've ever done any of those programs before, you know it's a few $1,000s that you're paying. I think some are like 5, some are 3. They vary depending on where. So I did 2. I actually did one through the University of South Florida, and then I did one through eCornell. But the one at the University of South Florida was paid for by a company called Jabril, I believe, or Jabil, something like that. But they were all about diversity, of course. But the very first day, they had the owners from the Tampa Bay Lightning come on and talk about diversity and what they were doing in that space. And a lot of times you hear people talk about diversity and it sounds good, right? To put things in place, to have employee research groups and all these things in place to try to make a diverse, inclusive, and equitable company. But a lot of times it doesn't work, especially if you don't have leadership who believes in it or who cares enough about it so that it trickles down. But it's not just starting at the leadership, it's all levels that have to, have their hands in this. But needless to say, I heard the man from the Lightning talk about how it's important for diversity. So this week on Monday or maybe Tuesday, I was listening to the radio And they were talking about how the Tampa Bay Lightning, which had won the Stanley Cup last year, that for their final game of the season, they had, for the first time ever in NHL's history, 3 Black players on their front line. First time ever. And we know, and if you ever watch a hockey game, there's not that many Black people who play hockey professionally. I think people of color amounts to less than 5%. It's a small amount of people. So to have 3 is a huge deal. But what I also loved about it is that he said that they deserve to be there because they worked their tails off. So it's not something that was given to them. It was something that they earned. But even more than that, he said, moving forward, hopefully it's more than just a story, that it becomes the norm. That it becomes the norm. It would be awesome if organizations, if people in general, just this whole country as a whole, understood the importance of diversity. Diversity in thought, diversity in race, experiences, genders, everything, religion, everything. It has been proven that when you have a diverse organization that you do much better. So it's something when people don't welcome it. But I just wanted to share with you that I am happy that I participated in that DE&I course certification, because these people really stand for diversity, as they said. They walk the talk. And I just hope that more people would do that. And if you're in an organization that can do that, you know, that you have influence, please, please do what you can to ensure that organizations capitalize on diversity. Everybody wins in that regards. And it's something, because if you heard me talk, you hear me talk about how I love, well, one of the things that I'm passionate about is helping organizations become better, and better through the power of caring, because I truly just don't believe that we care enough for one another, and we need to do a better job with that. And if that is a center, then everything else around it can be beautiful. And I always say that caring is like at the intersection of employee engagement and inclusion. I really just want us to care more. So I was super, super excited with this DE&I, even though it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what it is that I speak on, it does, right? Because it all matters. Because if we care about each other as we care about our family, and look at each other as a human. I know I talked about this in a previous video when I talked about the war with Israel and Pakistan. Like with everything else that makes them different, what makes them the same is their humanity. They are both human beings. And we have to do better. We have to do better. We have to figure out how to come together instead of looking at our differences as a way to keep us apart. So I just wanted to share that with you, because I just thought it was so phenomenal that Tampa Bay Lightning have 3 people who started and made history this week. And I don't know if you heard about it. And the other thing about Tampa Bay, they had, they won the Stanley Cup last year. So, you know, go figure. I'm just saying, we need to be more inclusive instead of trying to figure out what the differences are and let those differences keep us apart, i.e. Democrat versus Republican. Because that's a big one right now. We're so separated. You know, the other day, and I'm just gonna end on this one, but I was in this mastermind, and it's called the group is the Black NSA, which is the Black National Speakers Association. And we had a 10-week mastermind that was awesome. And everybody on the call who was part of this was not Black. But I promise you that I didn't even think about that until one of the non-Black people said that they weren't sure they should join because they didn't know if they would feel welcomed. And it was at that moment that I was like, oh my gosh, she is not Black. But it's because I wasn't looking at the color of their skin. I was looking at the energy that people bring, the spirits that's within. That's what we have to do. We have to get beyond the color of the skin, the religion, the political party. We have to get beyond that and see the people for who they are and what they offer. And so that's what I'm going to leave you with today, because this is going way longer than I thought. But I just thought it was funny because when I said it out loud, I was like, I know people probably think I'm crazy because we all do see color, but I wasn't focused on the color. I was focused on the person. And I appreciated what they had brought to the mastermind as a spirit, as an energy, not as a person that's not Black. And so I say all that to say, when I said that to the person, then I started counting how many people were not Black. And I'm like, it was more than just 1 or 2. It was like 4 out of a group of maybe 20. So it was a large percent, but like I said, it wasn't that I was focused on that. So I just want to share that with you. And I just really hope that you do what you can to be accepting of people. All right, take care. Bye-bye.